All right, greetings, Wasteland. This is Freedom Phil, and what's the topic? UK and Spain aren't supporting anything going on much with this Iranian situation. A lot of people would go with the usual dumb, ill that it's because they don't want to be involved. No, it's because they know if they're any way involved in this, the crazy people that they've let into their country, the crazy theocratic people they've slowly let take over areas will cause terror events. And they're not worried about their citizens dying. No, I'll tell you in a minute what they're really worried about. By the way, this is Freedom Phil. Like, subscribe. Let's get into it. Always turn up the video speed. Why do I say that? Because if you're watching videos at regular speed, what are you doing? And by the way, when I upload it, watch it at 1.75. Like, subscribe. Let's get into it. It's like this. I see these people out there and they're like, well, these countries don't want to be involved in a potential forever war. Yeah, I mean, like literally all we were asking the UK is, can we use this island air base you've got there so it can save us some time getting from here to there? I'm like, no, we can't do that. And it's like, Keir Starmer, Labour Party. Now, what is the Labour Party? Usually the kind of to the left might as well be just like communism light, like diet communism. That's what the Labour Party is. And I don't know if you've noticed, and this is a similar trend with a lot of leftist people all over the world. They don't care how bad your areas are getting when they bring in a ton of people from some other country. When things are getting worse and worse, that doesn't matter to them. What matters is how people vote and who's voting. That's what matters to them. What matters to them is basically that you're, continuing to vote for the left. And so imagine for a second that some of these people get really mad, really offended, and they have a terror event. A terror event. Well, what do you mean a terror event? Well, they go out and do some stabbings like they do in the UK on a regular basis, some murders, some rapes, and all that other stuff. And then a lot of more people that are heritage citizens of countries like the UK, Spain, different parts of Europe. You see this in America as well, but it's a different game, slightly different game, different situation. Same tactics. But those people that are normally left-wing voters, they then go and they start voting for the right, if not for just temporarily, because they're so sick and tired of the stabbings, the murders, the rapes of women and children. They're sick and tired of watching their country go downhill. Now, if Keir Starmer supported what's going on in Iran with Trump, likely there would have been a bunch of terror events. And there's going to still be a bunch of them. There's a bunch of retards coming into their country on a regular basis that are doing this shit. They get off on it. You see the way some of these sub-IQ individuals are sitting there smiling right after they stabbed people. Like they really believe, I get 72 virgins. I would do worse than these people. I would condemn them to Metallica's One and be like, you're going to live the rest of your life in a slow, painful haze. Maybe not. It might cost too much. But the thing of it is that it's really sad when you look at it. Spain needs those left-wing voters. The UK, the Labour Party, needs those left-wing voters. Without it, they're going to get kicked out of office. And that's why they bring them in, just like in America. They don't give a shit whether people are contributing or not. If they contribute, that's better. But I mean, when you let someone walk across your border and they crank out a kid and then you're giving them a free apartment, free housing, free everything, why are you surprised when those people take advantage of that situation? Why are you surprised at all? This isn't complicated. This is a tactic. They don't give a shit how bad things go downhill for the actual citizens of a country. They just care if they get reelected. And much like what you've seen with the black voters in America, well, Lyndon B. Johnson ages ago said what famous line? If you give me this welfare bill, I'll have those Negroes voting Democrat for 100 years or 200 years, something like that. And for 60 odd years, he was pretty much correct. But then after hope and change didn't, add up to much of anything. And mind you, Biden's saying, if you don't vote Democrat, you're not black. Like you're outright just telling people you vote on our plantation. And a lot of black men, after 8 years of Obama, hope and change didn't happen. They're not exactly thrilled about things, but hope and change didn't amount to much of a hill of beans. And then Biden When Trump was talking about talking to people actually during the election, Biden said, well, we'll talk after the election. And the talks never came. So you start seeing the black men walking away from the Democrat Party. And then you start seeing some of the black women following the strong black men. And that scares the shit out of a liberal. That's why they're bringing in immigrants all the time. They flood your communities with immigrants. And I don't care whether it's America or the UK or Europe in general. They're flooding your areas with immigrants to fortify their votes. Because they understand a bunch of poor people that have the threat, the sword of Damocles, basically in the form of being kicked out of the country. They know these people will vote as a bloc. They get people that are stupid and tribal. And it's the same thing with the Somalis. Why do they want all the Somalis there? Because the Somalis vote as a bloc, guaranteeing the top liberal muckety muck, the good smiling face, gets elected. It's no different in America than it's happening over in Europe. There is one difference. You're basically importing in mass quantities people who absolutely disagree with your way of life. And if they get pissed off and do Terry events, that means more traditional liberal voters, heritage citizens of a country, not the new colonizers, the Islamic colonizers. No, these people that are heritage voters start voting more for the right, and that'll get fucking people on the left kicked out. So this all comes back to a numbers game. They don't give a shit when a terrorist event happens in their country because they're not affected by it. That's something the poor deal with. When your cities are slowly being taken over by a bunch of, rapey Islamic, nut jobs, that's just the poor's problem. As long as people keep on voting for the Labor or Democrat, they're perfectly fine with things going downhill. And this is the thing. This is where you really should measure your politicians. If your politicians' tactics, when you really add them up, just add up to being something to where they're not interested in ever improving it. If they fix things, then what ends up happening is that people start voting in a different direction. If they fix things, then people are like, well, what are you going to do for me now? All these leftist parties can do is give you a crappy little breadcrumb style check. And when you start improving your own life and start voting in a different direction, what do? Well, you're leaving our party? Well, fuck, we better bring in a bunch of people to destabilize your wages, make your housing cost more, and if they have some other religion, maybe even be predators upon your women and children. Fuck, there was that case the other day that happened in the UK where there's some nut job that stabbed the shit out of a bunch of people, a bunch of children. Do you think that looks good for labor? No. That will cause more and more people to vote for the right because even people on the left, eventually they're just like, I just want to live in the country that I grew up in as a child. I want my children to grow up in the country I grew up in as a child. Safe, normal, we have our normal values. And it's funny, when you're European or American, people act like that's some sort of nationalistic statement. But if I was First Nations, nobody would blink an eye. If I'm some country over there in the Middle East or Africa or South American, nobody blinks an eye. It's only wrong when you love your country, you love your culture if you're Western. And the people that are constantly telling you the West isn't the best, even though all these people are flooding in to get a free ride, the people telling you this country is the left wing. It's Labor, it's the Democrats, it's whatever they call themselves in Spain. And that's why they are more concerned. That's why they won't support the Iranian situation going on. There's a perfectly good air base right outside of Ireland that'd be way closer for logistics. And the UK is part of NATO. And yet they won't do a thing because they're more concerned with getting those votes. They don't want to piss off their precious Muslim voters. Because they're going to freak out and they're going to burn things down. Just understand, this is about votes. They don't give a shit whether you live or die. And because you know what, if they really cared, for instance, that was not so long ago, the last steel mill in the UK shut down. Were they fighting to keep your jobs there? Like, you see some of these people talking about oil reserves right off the coast of the UK. Are they fighting to keep your jobs there? Or are they talking about climate goals? They're perfectly willing to buy resources from other countries that cost you more. Meanwhile, you could have been just using what's actually in your own country. There's how much coal reserves all across the United Kingdom. And yet they're like, no, we can't do any of that. We can't do what is it called? Gasification facilities to turn coal into synthetic natural gas. Africa's been doing it for years. Hell, World War II, Germans basically used that to fuel their war machine. And yet, in a modern world with better technology, they're basically causing you to have less jobs, less prosperity. And as long as you just keep on voting for a welfare check, no matter how bad it gets, and by the way, that is as good as it will get with these parties. They'll raise up a few token people, and they'll have these stars that say all the correct lefty bullshit. But as long as you keep on voting left and you keep on accepting crumbs, they'll keep on giving you crumbs. But if you vote for the right because you're sick and tired of the way your countries are going, that scares the shit out of them. Because now the left winger actually has to do something for you. That's exactly why they don't want to support what's going on in Iran. Because if those people, those recent, Muslim immigrants have a few Terry events, that could get these people thrown out of office. It's purely a numbers game. And understand the left wing, for all their fake ass compassion. And mind you, I'm not saying that conservatives really care about you all that much more. But at least with the conservatives, you have a stable country. For the most part. If you got real ones. And I swear to God, whatever's considered conservative over there in fucking jolly old England or Europe in general, it's basically might as well be the flaming left over here. So I don't know. You people are fucking cooked over there. But understand, Starmer's not doing anything because he is worried about losing power. And shit, he's actually, if I remember the numbers, he's less popular than Hitler was at the end of the war. I'm just saying. Freedom Phil, like, subscribe, take it easy. Let's see. Actually, you know what? I'll read a few comments. Let's see. Yeah, we got some people talking here. We just want people to contribute to this country. I think you should want people that are actually, compatible with your country first. People should be compatible and assimilate to your culture. Contribution, that's not enough. You can't have a bunch of people who show up but then basically try to change what you are. Otherwise you will soon become them. Democrats been running amok enough madness in the basket. Yeah, I mean, people don't tend to remember back in the day, fucking Bill Clinton gave North Korea nuclear materials for a peaceful energy program, and they turned it into a bomb. And what was it, 2015, right before Trump got elected? Obama did the same thing. These people are more interested in destabilizing the world to make sure that I swear they need problems to be happening to cause migration from other countries. And the truth is, a lot of these, second and third world countries, developing nations, we could actually fix the problems in their countries far cheaper doing it over there than here. Bringing a bunch of broke ass people in over here won't change a fucking thing. You could build infrastructure. All you need first is a stabilized country and some rule of law. And from there, you got a building block. There's a lot we could do. Instead, the attitude is just bring in tons of broke people because those broke people consistently vote for the left. So that tells you these people don't give a shit about your country. They don't care about the people that are coming in, and they don't care about their own broke people in their own country. Just look at the homeless on the streets in America. They do not care. Yeah, I don't know what that means there. HHO. That's you have to explain that. Water from air, water as fuel. Well, hydrogen is possible of doing that, but fuck. We can use water rockets. Yeah, okay, that's a whole separate conversation for another day. Yeah, hey, Maureen, what's up? But yeah, no, make no mistake. What you're seeing going on with the UK and Spain is them being more concerned about people starting to vote for the right. Because as their countries are turning into PvP servers, they're basically looking around and going, now people traditionally leftists are voting for the right. And you saw this in America where too many times factories were leaving America and the tariffs actually represented businesses coming back, union workers coming back to America, union factories back in America. And when they saw that they were losing the union vote, Democrats lost their mind. Every time you lose a left-wing stronghold to the right, that means, the conditioning can be broken. Trump is something that I think people will look back the way we look back at Ronald Reagan. There's going to be a lot of people when the next Trump comes along far off in the future. And I don't know if JD Vance is highly intelligent, but I don't know if JD Vance has the charisma, has the looks to be the president. Donald Trump is a force of fucking nature. And the problem with American politics and a lot of world politics is that every so many years you just shift over to the next group of people and all the hard work you've done. And this is why it's probably critically important during Trump's administration to basically fortify the Supreme Court. I like the people that are on our side, but for fucking Christ's sakes, don't pull the same thing that happened with Ruth Bader Ginsburg, because everybody thought Hillary's going to win. She stuck around. Don't make the same fucking mistake. Get some, I hate to say the term millennial, or fuck, be nice, some Gen Z hardcore conservative, and it's a joke, right? But some people that are like late Gen X, about my age, or millennial judges in there that will vote deep conservative for the next God knows how many years. Otherwise, we could go in reverse really fucking quick. And that's what it is. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, Freedom Phil, take it easy.